Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and today we're going to be making a snowflake, a quilled snowflake. Now this is one I did yesterday from a tutorial with the Papery Craftery, something like that. Anyway, she does a really good tutorial for this. She gives you the measurements and everything, and I'll link it below. I'm going to do a little something different today though, but I wanted to show you this one. I was pretty happy with it. It's not perfect, but you know, I'm okay with that. So today we're going to do something a little different. Let me get all this out of the way. And this is one I was inspired by Abby's artwork, and I will also link that channel below. I did take some of his measurements, but I had to adjust them a little bit for me because of the amount of strips I had left over. I'm using this really pretty quilling paper, and it came in a pack. I don't know where I got it or when I got it, and I don't think it's going to show up. It looks a little yellowish, but it's really like a pearlescent white. It's very pretty. It just doesn't show up very well on the camera, but I'm using what I had left, and so I've adjusted his measurements. And what I've done is I've done my measurements. Let's see here. I wrote it down. He used 30 millimeter or centimeter, probably centimeter strips to start with, and then he cut those in half. So I'm going to start coiling, and then we'll come back and start putting stuff together. Alright, so we've got our coils all made. I'm going to finish pinching these into teardrops, these 12 and these smaller 6, and then we'll start assembling. Alright, everything is shaped, and we're going to start gluing. I'm just going to enlarge you a little bit, and we're going to start gluing everything together. So sorry, I got a piece of glue there. I'm just going to kind of roughly position everything where I want it. And then we'll start gluing. Now this paper, like I said, it's a pearlized paper. So the glue does take a little bit longer to dry on this than it normally would. And I'm going to glue 3 at a time. So I'm going to glue these 3 together. Just kind of push it all. And then we'll do these 3. And then we're going to end up somehow or other. I've not done this very well. Let's see if I can kind of resituate everybody a little bit here. There we go. That's a little better. Well, except there's no glue there. Okay, let's try adding some glue here. Oop. Now you can use your cork board and pens. In fact, that's what the artist from the Paper Craftery does. She uses her corkboard and pins to get everything pushed into shape and held while the glue dries. Because you're making snowflakes, you kind of do want them as symmetrical as possible. So that's pretty close. It's not perfect, but it's close. All right, so now I think we add, do we do those in the center and then these on the outside? I can't remember. But that's the beauty of it. You can kind of just play with it until you decide, oh, see, I don't like that. I'm thinking, okay, hold on a moment. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to glue the 12 together in pairs. And what I want to do is I want to make sure, oops, that I'm gluing them the same so that the edges where the design unfurls come to, you know, are mirrored images, whether that's together in the center or apart. I think I like them in the center though, so let's do that, which means I just have to flip one over. Currently have them all laying in the same direction, so that one spun a little bit more than I wanted it to. Just get that back out and give it another little pinch. Put that down. So I'm just kind of lining everybody up. Getting them ready to glue. Oh, that's wrong. That's backwards. Okay. So there we go. Okay, zoom out just a little bit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the 12 in pairs. And actually, that one's backwards too. All right, do I want to mix any of them up or change them out a little bit? Nah, it's all right. So, let's see if our glue is still flowing. Oh, it is. So I'm just going to line these up with the points together at the bottom of the teardrop shapes and just give them a little press. And we're going to do that with all 6 sets. Okay. Just continue to push them together. Like I said, this particular paper does take a little bit longer to dry because of the coating on it. And pressing them down to make sure they're flush across the top. It's that time of day where my cat's gonna complain. All she has to do is push that door and it'll open right up. It's not closed. So now she's gonna go tell Poppy that I've got her locked out, which isn't true. It's not true at all. Just continue pushing those together. Now, like I said, you can use your corkboard and pens if that's easier for you. And it's really not a bad idea to do it that way. I just Didn't want to drag the cork board out. Plus, I didn't have any more freezer paper cut, so I need to do that. Well, that's a pretty one. So these kind of make little heart shapes. So then, ooh, we're going to take these remaining 6 and we're going to push them in between and glue them. So let me grab my tweezers for this because these are smaller. And I'm just going to put glue on both sides of the tip. And we'll take some of these that are a little bit drier and push it in. Now you do want to make sure you're kind of going straight up and down. You don't want to be off at an angle. Just because snowflakes are symmetrical. Mine aren't, but the real ones are. Alright, so again, I'm going to wipe that nozzle off. It's a little bit gunky. We're going to just keep adding glue to the next piece and inserting it into that little crevice at the top of the heart shape. And pushing it all together. Making sure we're still straight up and down. That looks pretty good. Well, it did. I think I moved it. So I'm just going to hold it there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's do another one. And we'll go in here. Again, we're just pushing that into that indentation there, trying to keep it straight up and down. That looks pretty good. We've got 3 more to go, and then we will attach these to the center of the snowflake. Now that one seems a little bit crooked. Problem is my fingers are all getting a little sticky from the glue. Okay. I know it's only the end of August, or toward the end of August, so it might seem a little bit early to be making snowflakes, but I guarantee you Christmas will be here before you know it. So if you're making these for your tree or your holiday decorations, or even to put them on Christmas cards to send out, or maybe little shadow box gifts or something, you probably don't want to wait too much longer to get started. Of course, that does depend on how many you're going to make. Oops, I could twist it a little bit. Okay, so keep. She's so pathetic, I swear. Alright, so now you're going to glue these in between the indentions on the snowflake. And I can already tell this one's not going to be very symmetrical. But it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to pick this up. And let's do this one. It's a little pointier. There we go. So I'm going to line this up on my mat here, and then I'm just going to straighten that out till it's pretty straight up and down. So I think what I want to do is I probably want to make this one a little more pointy, if it's not too late. Let's see, this one's pretty rounded at the bottom. Just gonna squeeze it a little bit. Okay, so looks like I need some glue right about there and right about there. We're gonna go to the bottom of this one just so I can keep it lined up. And I'm just going to press that and hold it so that it doesn't kind of squirt back out of there. So the artist from the Paper Craftery, she uses a little piece of grid paper underneath her freezer paper, and that works pretty good. And she'll even tell you some people use more like a circle diagram as a template just for their placement. But if you have one of these self-healing mats, they work pretty good as well, and the glue doesn't really stick to them very much. Okay, so I think if I turn this way, actually I want to go that way. Okay, so I'll put a little bit of glue on here. But I say use what you have, and use the method that works best for you. Just because something works well for somebody else doesn't mean it'll work well for you. It kind of just depends on what you're comfortable with. And that's okay. Okay, give this another little pinch. Just want it a little more pointy and a little less rounded. And we're going to go into the top here. So I'm just holding my snowflake down so it doesn't move, hopefully, and pushing this into the center, making sure that the tip of that teardrop stays lined up with this line on my mat. I do think a Christmas tree full of these would be beautiful, or some garland hanging in the windows or above the fireplace. I also think they'd be lovely on Christmas cards, which is probably what I will do with them. Alright, so we've got 2 more to go. Let's see, I'm going to turn that way. And again, I'm just going to just reinforce that point a little bit more. These would also be really nice decorations for like some kind of holiday party, or I don't know, you tell me. I think that there's probably a lot of different ways these can be used. Last one. Just give that a little bit of time for that glue to hopefully start to take hold. So the thing I think that's important to remember when you're doing snowflakes, if you want to be, you know, as accurate as possible, they should be 6 points. That doesn't mean you can't make them 8 or 12, but in real life, in nature, they're usually 6, I believe. And that's what we have here. So that doesn't mean, again, like you can't use your own creative expression to make whatever you want. And if you don't want to call them snowflakes because they don't have 6 points, call them mandalas. So there you go. I actually think that's kind of nice. Now you could continue to add to that if you wanted. I do have some little leftover end cuts here. I could make some little coils and maybe put them here, you know. Let me see if I can show you better. You know, tuck them in here, or even just on the tip. Now that might be nice. Just a little coil glued to the tip of each one. Why don't we, let's see, what do we got here? I want to kind of measure and get some that are about the same. Let's see, I got, what is this, 4? I've only got 5 that are this length. So I'd have to cut it down. Let's see, we might not be doing this after all. What do I got here? That's on the 6. So 9.5, so that's 3.5 inches. I don't think I'd want to go a whole lot smaller than that. Yeah, I think we'll just leave it for now. That was the last strip of the pearlized paper I have, and the other white that I have it's a different shade of white, so it doesn't quite look right. But you could also add gemstones in various places, or one right in the center. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Maybe we should do that. Let me see here. I do still have these. I don't think they're quite big enough though. No, they're not. Let's see what we've got in here. That one's kind of pink. That might not be the right color either. Oh, it's not bad though. Let's see. There's purple. I was looking for a big white one, which I'm sure there's some in here. It's just how far down do I have to dig? Well, there's a light blue one. Now, if I were going to put these on Christmas cards, I've got already the thickness of the quilling paper. Now I'm adding the thickness of this flat back pearl. So that is something to take into consideration. I do like that though. So many options. I swore I know there's a white one in there somewhere. But the other thing we could do is, let's just see, how long is this? This is barely an inch. That's an 1.5-ish. Let me just see what size that'll make. And actually, I'm going to use this one. Hopefully my fingers aren't too sticky. So we're going to add a little bit of glue right there. What did I say this was, 1.5 inches? I think that's what I said. Just looking to see if I can get the size right. Oh yeah, I think that would work. So what I can do is I can take these longer strips and cut them down to 1.5 inches. and then I'll have more than enough. Or I could just even just take them and cut them in half. Two. Four. Let's put that up there. And six. Okay, let's put those over there. Let's go ahead and make six little points. Now those would be a good spot for rhinestones in my opinion. Oops. Okay, so now we're going to just glue these to the tips here. And I'm going to put a little bit of glue. Let me see here. Oh, almost lost that one. Just going to try and get my coils flush here real quick. Some of them are and some of them aren't. Okay. So, how to pick these up? Just going to add a little bit of glue to this where this seam is, and then I'm just going to hopefully gently just attach it right to the tip there. All right. Alright, sorry about the silence, I'm concentrating. These pieces are so small. Actually, somebody out there probably appreciates the silence, so you're welcome. And let's see. That one kind of came unglued anyway. Okay. So hopefully this will re-glue it. That coil closed. So we'll take that off of there. I do want that a little bit straighter. Okay. And again, this is where pens would probably come in really handy, just so this stuff doesn't keep moving on you while you're waiting for your glue to dry. Oops. That's our last one. Pretty straight. I think we're pretty good. Those are lined up. Those are lined up. And that's not, but that's because I just spun that around. There we go. Awesome. So there we have a snowflake. Isn't that pretty? And you can use whatever colors you want. The one that I made yesterday, which, where have I set that? Oh, here it is got blue in the center. And I almost feel like these kind of look like angels rotating around the outside. That's just me. But anyway, so snowflakes are really easy. I would recommend probably the best way to make sure you keep everything straight, though, is a cork board and pens, and maybe a template underneath, because you can see the template through the freezer paper, which is nice. So there you go. Or again, we could go and put little rhinestones on the outside of each of those tips of each of that snowflake there. So I think I'll be making some more of these in the days to come. And again, I don't remember who I said this one was from, and my phone is shut off. Let's see here. This one was inspired by Abby's artwork, and I'll link that below. And then the first one was from the Papery Craftery, and I think these are a lot of fun to make. I mean, you can use any shape. I liked the way she took these two curved teardrops and glued them together, so that was different for me. I don't know when I did that last. So anyway, gosh, I really like that one. So thanks for joining me, guys. Again, this is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and I thank you for following me along on this journey, and I hope I see you next time. Until then, happy crafting.